Scorpio, something unbelievable is about to unfold in your life. 2 goodbyes and 1 destined meeting that will change everything this November. Let that sink in. You didn't find this message by accident. You were drawn here because your soul is ready. This moment, right now, is a spiritual intersection, a divine appointment that's been waiting for you to arrive. What you're about to hear is not a forecast. It's a confirmation. A signal. A sacred call to rise. Because you, Scorpio, are standing at the edge of a powerful gateway where your past is quietly untying itself from your future, and something greater is asking to be born through you. If you've been feeling that silent ache, that strange emptiness inside places that once felt like home, if certain relationships feel harder to carry, or you find yourself emotionally exhausted from roles you never truly chose, then listen closely. This is your soul's way of saying, it's time. Time to let go of the weight. Time to release the parts of yourself that were built for survival, not for peace. Time to remember that you were never here to endure, you were here to create. These first few days of November are not ordinary. In the aftermath of last month's full moon, the energy is shifting in waves beneath the surface. You may not see it clearly yet, but things are being rearranged on your behalf by grace, by timing, by design. And in the midst of that shift, 3 things are being prepared for you: 2 goodbyes and 1 sacred meeting. Not all doors will slam shut. Some will simply stop opening. Not everyone will walk away. Some will just stop showing up. And it's not because you've failed. It's because your frequency is rising, and some energies can no longer follow. But where there is release, there is room. Where there is surrender, there is sacred space for something new to arrive. And it will. Someone is coming not to fix you, but to reflect the truth you've forgotten. They won't need to rescue you. They'll simply see you. And in their presence, you'll remember who you are without the armor. This isn't coincidence. It's divine alignment. So I want to personally thank you for being here. Thank you for listening with your heart wide open. Every comment you leave, every time you subscribe or share this message, you're anchoring yourself deeper into this sacred community, into the miracle that is already unfolding. Your presence here fuels this channel. It keeps these messages flowing. And I want you to know, what's coming next is nothing short of extraordinary. So stay with me until the very end. Because what the universe is revealing to you, Scorpio, is too powerful to miss. And now, I invite you to ground this moment. Comment below and affirm your shift. I'm ready to let go of what no longer serves me. I trust what's leaving is making room for something divine. This is your time. This is your turn. Let's walk through this portal together. Scorpio, what you are facing now is not an ending, it is a holy unraveling. This is not grief. This is grace disguised as release. You see, what we often call a goodbye is not always a loss. Sometimes it is your soul saying, this is no longer mine to carry. And as we gently enter this next chapter of your journey, let us recognize that these 2 farewells are not moments of defeat, but sacred transitions, thresholds between what was survival and what can now become peace. The first goodbye is not to a person, but to a version of yourself that once kept you alive. That role you wore like armor, the provider, the peacemaker, the one who smiled even when they were falling apart inside. Perhaps you stayed in a job that drained you because you believed duty was more noble than joy. Perhaps you kept saying yes when everything in you longed to say no, because you were taught that being selfless meant disappearing. But what if I told you the divine never asked for your disappearance? What if your presence, your whole, unedited self is not only enough, but essential? This version of you served a purpose. It got you through storms. It held your world together when everything else fell apart. But now that storm has passed, and the armor is too heavy to carry where you are going next. The breathless strength you once thought was required is no longer your only option. You are not being asked to prove anything. You are being invited to rest. And this, Scorpio, is where the second farewell begins. Because sometimes what holds us back isn't a relationship or a job, it's a belief. A belief etched into our subconscious by years of repetition. I must sacrifice myself to be loved. If I let go, everything will fall apart. Only when I do more, give more, become more, will I be safe. But these beliefs, however familiar, are not sacred truths. They are survival mechanisms you inherited. And survival has a cost often paid with your peace, your health, your joy. That is why this second goodbye, though invisible to the world, is one of the most powerful acts of healing you can ever offer yourself. Because when you finally release the belief that pain is the price for worthiness, you begin to return to the person God created, not the one you had to become to be accepted. And in that return, there is stillness. A soft, undeniable whisper from the holy that says, you don't have to carry this anymore. Come to me, all you who are weary, and I will give you rest. Matthew 11 verse 28, this is not philosophy. It is a promise. In practice, this moment invites you into simple, sacred rituals. Sit with yourself each morning in silence. Journal honestly about the masks you're ready to drop. Breathe 5 slow, grounded breaths until you remember the rhythm of your own soul beneath the noise. Eat foods that calm your body, walnuts, greens, dark chocolate, not because you're trying to fix yourself, but because nourishment is a form of reverence. Let your body know it is safe to be here now. This is what healing looks like. It's not dramatic. It's quiet. And Scorpio, you are not losing your power by letting go. You are rediscovering it. Because power without peace is just pressure. And you were made for more than pressure. You were made for presence. If something within you feels like it's outgrown its shell, listen. If your soul aches in familiar rooms, pay attention. These two goodbyes may not come with closure, but they will come with clarity. And clarity, in time, becomes liberation. Now it's your turn to respond. Comment below and affirm this shift in your spirit. I'm ready to release what no longer honors who I'm becoming. I trust that what I let go of will be replaced with grace. Your healing begins the moment you stop pretending and start listening to the voice within, the one that always knew it was time. When you let go of what no longer fits your spirit, you create a sacred opening, an inner clearing for something aligned to finally arrive. That's why, after the two goodbyes we just journeyed through, life doesn't leave you empty. Instead, something or someone enters. Not loudly. Not with a grand announcement. But with a quiet presence that feels like truth. A vibration you recognize not with your eyes, but with your energy. Like the way your skin senses the air shifting before a storm, you'll feel this connection before it ever speaks. What's coming into your life now is not a rescue, It's a reflection. In astrology, we understand that Scorpio is a sign of profound transformation ruled by Pluto, the planet of death and rebirth. You were born to die to old versions of yourself and rise again stronger. But even the strongest souls grow weary when they walk alone for too long. That's why the universe often sends not a savior, but a witness. Someone who doesn't demand you prove yourself, explain your pain, or hide your shadows. They simply stand with you in your wholeness and whisper, "I see you." This person could appear as a friend, a teacher, a collaborator, or a love you didn't expect. They might not look extraordinary from the outside, but something in their gaze will speak to the parts of you that haven't felt seen in years. You'll feel their frequency before they speak. They are not here to fix what's broken, they're here to build something new beside you. And you'll know it's real because you won't have to abandon yourself to keep them. Tarot reminds us of this through the archetype of the lovers. Often misunderstood as a symbol of romantic union, this card is actually about sacred choice. It invites you to choose with the heart, not the wound. To enter relationships from wholeness, not from lack. To allow energy that complements your growth, not distracts from it. The Lover's card represents union, but not just with another. It also speaks to inner harmony. And when you meet someone aligned with your healed energy, that resonance is immediate. It feels like the soil finally recognizing its seed. This is not a time for chasing connections. It's a time for welcoming the ones that meet you without you needing to lower your voice, shrink your vision, or justify your worth. When you have done the work to release what you've outgrown, the universe responds not by rewarding you, but by matching you. This is the law of resonance. What you vibrate, you attract. What you embody, you mirror. And right now, your energy is calling in something Samyanuho reminds you of who you are when you're no longer pretending. You may feel hesitant at first. Old fears might whisper, "Can I trust this?" That's natural. But growth doesn't require you to be fearless, it asks you to be honest. To name your needs. To stay open just enough to see what might unfold if you stopped expecting pain as proof. This meeting won't heal all your wounds. But it will affirm that you're no longer moving through life alone and you're becoming. It will remind you that you were never too much, you were just waiting for someone whose spirit had the capacity to hold what you carry. So if you feel a shift, if you sense a presence, if a connection starts to form without effort, honor it. It may not be forever. But it is for now. And now is where healing happens. If this speaks to your journey, take a moment to ground your truth in words. Share in the comments, "I welcome aligned connections into my life. I no longer abandon myself to be seen." This is your sacred meeting. Trust it. Let it meet you fully. The energy of early November carries a quiet, unshakable gravity, and Scorpio, you are built for moments like this. After releasing what no longer honors your becoming, you step into a space where the universe isn't demanding anything from you. Instead, it's speaking in symbols, signals, and subtle invitations. You might not be able to name exactly what's changing, but you can feel it, like the ground under your feet is loosening, making space for new roots to take hold. That's not chaos. That's alignment unfolding. Astrologically, we begin this phase with Mercury entering Sagittarius on November 2, NDA transit that acts like a cosmic truth serum. It doesn't just ask you to speak. It asks you to speak what is real. This is when your inner voice becomes louder than the expectations of others. You might feel compelled to name your needs more directly, to have the conversation you've been avoiding, or to stop sugarcoating what your intuition has been whispering for weeks. Mercury in Sagittarius wants expansion, but not just outward. It seeks growth through honesty. It nudges you to reframe your narrative from, "I should be grateful for what I have," to, "I deserve to be aligned with what feeds my soul." Then, just 2 days later, Saturn ends its retrograde. The timing of this is not a coincidence. When Saturn stations direct, we are offered a moment of quiet reflection. What boundaries have we outgrown? What structures have become prisons instead of containers of growth? This isn't the kind of energy that slams doors. It's the kind that slowly removes walls you didn't realize were limiting you. It's a return to discipline, but not the old paradigm of striving and self-denial. Instead, it's a call to root into self-respect. To rebuild, not from the brokenness of the past, but from the clarity that only truth can bring. And then we have the Tower. Reversed. A misunderstood card, and one that many fear, but in this position, it doesn't predict disaster. It reveals dismantling that has already begun. This is the moment where false foundations fall not with thunder, but with a whisper. You look around and realize what once felt solid has quietly lost its grip on your heart. This card reminds you that not all falling is failure. Sometimes the most sacred rebuilding begins only after we stop trying to salvage what was never meant to last. But the universe doesn't leave you in limbo. It offers signs, whispers disguised as numbers, colors, moments of resonance. If you've been seeing 1111 more often, it's not random. It's a marker that a portal is open. That your energy is aligning with a path you once prayed for, even if you didn't have the words for it then. The beauty of 1111 isn't in its magic. It's in its precision. It shows up at the exact moment when you are ready to receive, if only you pause long enough to say, "I allow this. I trust this shift." And if you feel drawn to deeper tones, shades like deep violet or plum, it's because your frequency is recalibrating. Those colors aren't just aesthetic, they are archetypal. Purple speaks to sovereignty, wisdom, healing. It's the hue of the third eye, the seat of intuitive knowing. Wearing it, visualizing it, surrounding yourself with it can act as a reminder that you're not just navigating life, you're co-creating it. You're not here to be passive. You're here to participate in your own rebirth. This season isn't about forcing forward. It's about aligning inward. It's about clearing the debris of misaligned timelines so the road ahead can be walked with peace, not performance. Let the astrology be your mirror. Let the Tower fall. Let Mercury speak. Let Saturn anchor you in truth. And when you see 1111 again, don't just make a wish. Make a choice. Ground it with your voice. Say it aloud or write it down. I choose alignment. I welcome clarity. I am no longer afraid to begin again. Once you've released the old structures and opened your heart to aligned connection, the next invitation isn't to rush, it's to rebuild. But this time, not from the desperate energy of survival. This time, you build from stillness. From clarity. From the soft but solid place within you that knows, you don't have to earn your right to rest, or love, or joy. You are not here to keep pushing through. You are here to participate gently, consciously in the co-creation of a life that feels like home to your soul. This moment is where the deepest shift begins. When you are no longer asking, "What must I do to be loved?" but instead, "What would it look like to live in a way that reflects who I truly am?" That is a sacred question. One that doesn't come from fear, but from awakening. You've already walked through the fire. You've already let go of what was weighing you down. Now you begin again, not as someone trying to prove anything, but as someone finally ready to express. This is the transition from surviving to creating. And the truth is, that shift happens not in grand gestures, but in daily choices. In small, sacred habits that tell your nervous system, "I am safe now. I am allowed to soften. I am allowed to begin again." When it comes to the body, the message is clear: hydration is healing. The more water you drink, the more fluid your energy becomes. Caffeine, in excess, can amplify anxiety and keep you tethered to adrenaline. Choose instead to nourish your system with movement that is gentle and grounding: slow walks, conscious stretching, breath-led yoga. You don't have to punish your body to prove you're changing. In fact, the more loving you are with your physical self, the faster you reconnect to peace. Mentally, it's time to clear the noise. We live in a world that constantly pulls our attention outward. But real alignment is quiet. Limit the content that drains your focus or feeds fear. Choose instead to engage with soundscapes that soothe your brain, frequencies like 432 Hz, rain sounds, gentle piano. These aren't luxuries. They're tools for regulation. You're not numbing yourself. You're returning to balance. And emotionally, this is where the deepest restoration happens. The heart doesn't heal through logic. It heals through presence. So place your hand over your chest. Breathe. Say to yourself, not with performance, but with permission, "I deserve a full and peaceful life." Let the words settle. Say them again, if your voice shakes. Say them every day, until the shaking becomes steadiness. This kind of healing doesn't make headlines. But it rewires everything. It returns you to the sacred rhythm of your own energy, your own truth. You stop chasing and start choosing. You stop begging and start receiving. You realize you don't have to hustle for alignment. You simply have to stop betraying yourself to belong. And if that resonates with you right now, if this feels like your turning point, take a moment to anchor it. Let your intention be heard. Comment below, "I choose healing over survival." Say it because you mean it. Or say it because you're learning how to mean it. Either way, your voice matters. This moment matters. And the version of you that's emerging? She isn't fragile. She's free. There is a moment in every healing journey when you no longer crave to be understood by the world, you begin to understand yourself. When you stop bending to fit old containers and instead ask yourself, quietly but honestly, "What if I didn't have to shrink to be accepted?" This is the kind of freedom that doesn't arrive with noise or applause. It comes in silence. Like a garden blooming long after the gardener has stopped watching. This is where you are now, Scorpio, not chasing significance, but discovering your soul's shape without permission or apology. You may notice certain people drifting away. Conversations that once felt natural now feel strained. Spaces where you used to belong now seem too small for the energy you carry. This isn't rejection. It's resonance shifting. The frequencies that once sustained your survival are no longer aligned with the version of you that is growing. And this growth is not linear, it's spiritual. It doesn't follow timelines. It follows truth. You are no longer fighting to fit into a life that asked you to silence your gifts in order to stay connected. Instead, you're learning to build a life where your presence is enough, your truth is welcome, and your peace is non-negotiable. That is what spiritual maturity looks like. And from this place, you no longer need to explain why you've changed. You no longer perform emotional labor just to be tolerated. Your freedom doesn't need justification. It simply exists. Astrologically, Scorpio carries the archetype of transformation and emotional depth. But even transformation must be integrated. What good is a rebirth if it's spent proving you deserve to exist in your new form? What you're learning now is that you no longer need to win over anyone who cannot see your light unless it's dimmed. That's not humility. That's abandonment. And you're done abandoning yourself to be digestible. What begins to unfold here is a quieter revolution, the kind of inner liberty that can't be taken away because it's no longer rooted in approval. The kind that says, I don't need to be for everyone. I just need to be true to the one I was created to be. This is what emotional liberation feels like, walking into rooms you used to shrink in and realizing you're not too much, you were just in the wrong rooms. Speaking your truth and realizing the right people don't flinch. Setting boundaries and feeling peace instead of guilt. This is not defiance. It's alignment. In practical terms, it means giving yourself permission to be seen as you are, even if it costs you old comfort. It means protecting your energy like you would a sacred flame, knowing that those meant for you will never ask you to dim. It means no longer just surviving emotional landscapes but designing them. Filling your environment with things that ground you. Choosing silence over small talk. Depth over performance. Restoration over reaction. And maybe most of all, it means no longer waiting for someone else to validate your enoughness. Because you've found it in yourself. Because you've lived through enough storms to know that real joy doesn't scream. It whispers, you're allowed to be free. If this resonates, let it be more than a thought. Let it become a declaration. Speak it. Write it. Ground it. Share it below if you're ready. I no longer shrink to stay connected. I honor my growth, even when others don't understand it. Your journey was never about fitting in. It was always about becoming whole. And now, you are. Scorpio, after everything we've walked through together in this reading, after the gentle unraveling, the quiet clarity, and the emergence of your new alignment, I want to remind you of something so simple, yet often forgotten. You were never here just to survive. You were born to shine, to grow, to rebuild a life that feels like peace in your bones, not pressure on your chest. You are not the same person you were when you first pressed play. Something shifted. Even if it was subtle, even if it was just a whisper, you felt it. So now the question is not, what happens next? The real question is, what do you choose to do with what you now know? Will you continue to show up for the version of you that is already fading, or will you rise into the self that has been patiently waiting to be seen? Will you keep apologizing for your light, or will you let it stretch freely across every space that once tried to dim it? You don't need permission to evolve. You don't need proof that you're worthy. You just need to trust the timing, trust your knowing, and take one small step from fear into faith. Because if everything in you is saying, I'm ready, then it's time to ask, ready for what? Ready to release the patterns that kept you numb? Ready to love yourself louder than the voices that once silenced you? Ready to build not from lack, but from alignment? This video was never about giving you answers. It was about holding up a mirror. And if you saw even a flicker of truth in that reflection, then trust it. Let that flicker become a flame. Let it guide you gently back to yourself. And now, I invite you to pause just for a moment and feel into your next action. Not the big ones. The small ones. The sacred ones. What can you do today, even if it's quiet and private, to honor what has awakened in you? Maybe it's journaling. Maybe it's resting. Maybe it's deleting something that no longer reflects your growth. Or maybe it's finally admitting to yourself that you're ready for more. Whatever it is, let it begin here. And if this message touched your spirit, if something in it felt like it was written exactly for where you are, please let yourself be part of this sacred ripple. Comment below with what's stirring in you. Not just for me, but for you. To claim your truth. To mark this moment. To witness your own evolution. You might write, I'm ready to let go of who I used to be. I choose peace over pressure. I am no longer waiting for the world to see me, see myself now. Thank you for being here. For listening not just with your ears, but with your heart. For every like, every comment, every moment you've spent with me on this journey, know that your presence nourishes this space. It strengthens the channel, and more than that, it keeps the flame of this mission alive, to spread light, healing, and sacred remembrance in a world that so often forgets. You are never alone. Not now. Not ever. And if this video resonated with you, I invite you to like, subscribe, and stay close to this space miracle of the sign, where we plant seeds of truth and nurture the soul's return to wholeness, even in the busiest corners of life. Because yes, your path is divine. And yes, you are ready. Now tell me, what part of you did this awaken today? I'm listening.